I will put it on you in a second, sir. Please calm down.
Give it to me.
Right, we're here. We've got royalty here. We've got Mr. Shinn. We've got man, myth, legend, Jamie Knox.
You're mad.
And Dr. Valanthan of Cambridge University. So there is nothing at this table that cannot be solved. So today we are going to go through Mr. Shinn's pumping technique. He took us all aside the other day and explained to us that we really need to learn to pump if we want to become better foilers. And you know what? He was right.
Again.
Yeah, has been known. And all of the boys who went out and did pump training that day came back new foilers. Their level jumped significantly. So I thought, in the interest of the future of humanity, you all need to hear, see and go practice this, because certainly with the Foildrives it makes it so much easier to get practice and skillful at this. There is absolutely no excuse why you should not. So I will leave you in the capable hands of Mr. Shinn, and he will tell you how it is done. Thank you.
Over to you.
Thank you. I'm going to clip this on. Okay. So, pumping. Even if you don't want flat water pump, it's essential. You will never be a good wave rider or downwinder if you don't know how to pump, because the techniques involved are critical. The ability to recover height on the foil, the ability to foil high, and to be efficient. They're really critical. So let's go through it stage by stage. What is the purpose of pumping? The purpose of pumping is to generate forward motion with your muscles, with your body weight. It's not to bounce up and down like a headless chicken on top of the foil. So whatever we're doing now, bear in mind we're trying to drive the foil forwards, not just bob up and down. Okay, I like to think of pumping in three critical phases. We have the scoop, which is driving the foil through the bottom of the arc. We have the recovery, which is coming as high as you possibly can on the mast. And we have the glide, which is what it sounds like, the glide before you have to do the scoop again. The scoop is probably the critical part of the pump, because the scoop is driving your back foot hard on the board through the turn to generate energy. This is all back foot, and it's a really hard push through a small arc with the back foot. The recovery, this is where most people make a mistake. They think that pumping is pushing down with the front foot. Pumping is actually the wrong name. It should be called foil jumping, because your recovery is done by getting all of your weight off of the board. The more weight you can get off of the board, the higher the foil can recover, and the longer your glide will be. The longer your glide will be, the less work you have to do, and the longer you'll be able to pump. It's very simple. So the recovery, as we come out of the scoop, we're going to jump. We're going to take all of our weight off the board and let it come as high up the mast as physically possible. Why? If you're a 80 kilo rider, your foil is never going to recover with 80 kilos weight on it. If you can get all of your weight off, your foil will rise right to the top, no problem. This is why when you see someone good at pumping, you'll see the heels coming off the board in the recovery phase, because they spring up and de-weight the board completely to get the full recovery. So scoop is all with the back foot. The recovery is a jump to get as high as possible, and then you can glide. If you're an 80 kilo rider, you have 80 kilos of pressure to accelerate the board on the glide. You don't need to push. Let your weight do the work. Save your energy for the recovery when your weight is actively fighting you. When you're gliding, your weight is helping you. So, scoop, recover, glide. Any questions?
Funny, I always thought it was the front foot, so that's very interesting. Good start, isn't it? Now, I thought with the modern foils also that there was no such thing, because I remember when we first started pumping, it was that up and down motion. Now I'm finding that I'm more efficient if I'm just pumping on a constant level. So you talk about the scoop, that's interesting. It still exists, but in a different format.
The scoop is what drives you forwards, because this is where you're pushing the foil, you're squeezing the foil forward through the water. It doesn't have to be a massive action. It can be a very small squeeze, and the faster you go, the less of a scoop you need to do, but it's the scoop that drives you forwards. The recovery does exactly what it says. It's just to recover height on the mast. If you're up high anyway, you don't need much recovery. And that's why when you see people pumping high, it looks like they're doing almost nothing, because they don't need a lot of scoop to drive forward, and they don't need a lot of recovery. And you have this very nice maintenance pump, up high, low energy.
That's the bit I want to learn to
do.
do.
The problem comes when you start to drop down the mast, because you have to, it's hard enough to keep height on the mast, but to gain height on the mast, that's where your technique has to be good. And that's the skill we need. If you're surfing and you make a very aggressive turn and you drop height on the mast, you need the recovery from pumping to get back up high to accelerate again.
Yeah, I learned that on the wave, but I still can't do that on flat water.
Now, arm flapping.
Yeah.
If you take a pair of bathroom scales and you stand on them and you swing your arms like this, you'll notice that when you swing your arms like this, your weight goes down. This is the point of the arms. When you lift it, you reduce your weight, so the recovery is easier. This is the only reason for the arm waving. If you're high, you don't need to wave the arms because you don't need a big recovery. If you've gone deep and you have to dig yourself out, that's when we see the exaggerated arm movements, trying to do anything to get our weight up high.
Okay, I'll try that bit, yeah.
I have one other question, sir, please. Height, foiling height. Should we be medium mast height? Should we be as high as possible, or is it okay to dip down?
You should always be as high as possible on the mast. The main reason is that I'm not sure the exact number, maybe Dr. Valanthan can tell us. For every few centimeters down in the water you go, the water density is increasing because of atmospheric pressure. There is a huge difference in the foil efficiency when it's at 60 centimeters underwater or when it's 5 centimeters under the water. You want to be high because the foil is more efficient when it's up high.
Yeah.
Okay, and what size foil should we be practicing on? What can we get away with learning on? Bigger, better?
Probably bigger is better for learning to pump. The reason is a bigger foil can go slower. So when you're making mistakes with your pumping, it will stay on foil. You know, if you're a good foil pumper, you can pump with any foil. But when you're learning, bigger will give you easier to stay high on the foil and easier to generate forward speed. So now we're going out, I'm going to take the 1400 PNG V2, that's about 1,800 square centimeters, and that will be really comfortable foil for me to go pumping now.
And we are on 1300 V2 surface area.
Around 1,550.
And different speeds for different foils to initiate the pump training? Do you go faster with smaller foils to initiate?
The beauty of the Foildrive is you have so easy ability to get on foil. And this is one of the great things about Foildrive. The best way to learn to pump is to go pumping. If you first, before you learn to pump, you have to learn to jump off the dock onto your board, or you have to wait for a windy day, you just don't get that much practice in. And the beauty of the Foildrive is you can go every day for half an hour, 1 hour. All you need is a bit of water, no conditions, and you can learn. I truly believe that without the Foildrive, I still wouldn't be able to pump properly, because somehow when it's windy to go winging, you don't think about it, and dock starting, that's not my thing.
Yeah, I really do think the Foildrive for me, I had it in Tenerife, and since I've been back, I've used all the different wind directions, different bays. With the Foildrive, it's been an amazing journey. My wave riding's come on, my winging has come on, and that learning to stay so high on the foil is everything. And the foil drive is, I think, the only weapon that teach you how to do that, really.
Unless you're 18 years old and brimming in natural talent, the foil drive is a cheat code.
Yeah.
It just gives you time on the water to learn and perfect what you're doing. So, a couple of other points I didn't mention. Stance. Standing with your feet like this is not helpful at all. Get your stance close together. And that doesn't mean just pulling the front foot back, it also means moving the back foot forwards. The closer you can get your feet together, the easier it is to pump. There is no doubt of this. And if you want proof, go stand with your feet this far apart and do some squats. And then put your feet close together and do some squats. And tell me which one is easier.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Done that. Yeah, I've done that.
That's it.
Right.
Now you know everything.
Let's go before the tide goes.
Let's go.
Bomb it. Off we go.
So there you go. Thank you, Mr. Shinn. That was most informative. Right, if you've got one of these things, get yourself out there and teach yourself to pump. Now, perversely, Foildrive gives you the ability to get onto foil really easily, but sustained pumping flight with the Foildrive, because of the extra mass of the battery in the drive unit, is actually trickier than pure prone. So there's a challenge. Get it sorted. Now, if you've got one of these things, why do we even need to learn to pump? Well, the truth is that the finer lessons that you learn pump foiling leak out in your normal riding, specifically in surfing where fine control is an absolute must-have. And we found that our ability levels kind of jumped up a notch having done this, so I highly recommend you do the same. Happy pumping, and I'll see you again soon.